But there is one question that has fascinated military experts for decades. Why does the United States operate the largest and most advanced fleet of aircraft carriers on Earth, while Russia possesses only a single aging carrier with limited capabilities? Why did America invest heavily in carrier warfare while Russia focused on submarines, missiles, and land-based power? And which strategy is actually more effective in modern warfare? Today, we are diving deep into the history, technology, strategy, strengths, and weaknesses behind one of the greatest military differences between the United States and Russia. This is the complete story of why America rules seas with aircraft carriers and Russia does not. We must first go back to World War II. The Second World War completely transformed naval warfare forever. Before the war, battleships, the kings of the ocean, massive, heavily armed ships carrying giant cannons, dominated naval strategy for decades. Everything changed when aircraft carriers proved to destroy enemy kilometers away without in 1941 demonstrated the terrifying power of carrier aviation. Japanese aircraft launched from carriers devastated the American Pacific Fleet and shocked the entire world. Soon after, naval battles such as Midway proved that aircraft carriers had become the most important warships ever created. The United States learned a crucial lesson during the war. Control of the skies meant control of the oceans. After World War II ended, America emerged as a global superpower with worldwide interests, overseas allies, and military commitments spread across every continent. To protect those interests, the United States needed the ability to project military power anywhere on Earth at any time. Aircraft carriers became the perfect solution. Unlike land-based air forces, carriers do not require permission from foreign countries. They can move across international waters and position military air power directly near conflict zones. This gave America enormous strategic flexibility. During the Cold War, the United States faced the Soviet Union in a global struggle for influence. American leaders understood that carrier groups allowed rapid response to crises in Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and beyond. As a result, the U.S. Navy invested heavily in carrier development. Over time, American carriers became larger, more advanced, and more powerful than anything the world had ever seen. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union developed a very different military strategy. Unlike the United States, the Soviet Union was primarily a continental land power. Most Soviet military planning focused on defending territory in Europe and countering NATO forces near its borders. The Soviet Navy existed mainly to protect ballistic missile submarines and challenge American naval forces close to Soviet waters. Instead of building massive carrier fleets, the Soviets invested heavily in submarines, anti-ship missiles, long-range bombers, and coastal defenses. The Soviet leaders believed aircraft carriers were expensive tools designed mainly for offensive global power projection, and the Soviet Union simply did not have the same worldwide military commitments as the United States. This strategic difference shaped everything. America wanted to dominate the oceans globally. The Soviet Union wanted to deny America control near Soviet territory. Two superpowers, two completely different naval philosophies. Today, the United States operates the largest aircraft carrier fleet in history. The core of American naval power is the nuclear-powered supercarrier. Ships like the Nimitz class and the newer Gerald R. Ford class are among the most complex military machines ever built. These carriers are enormous. A modern American supercarrier can exceed 100,000 tons in displacement and carry more than 70 aircraft, including fighters, electronic warfare aircraft, helicopters, surveillance planes, and transport aircraft. They essentially function as floating military cities. Thousands of sailors and aircrew live on board for months at a time. These ships contain hospitals, command centers, maintenance facilities, ammunition storage, fuel systems, kitchens, sleeping quarters, and even small stores. The most powerful feature of American carriers is their nuclear propulsion. Unlike conventional ships that require frequent refueling, nuclear-powered carriers can operate for decades without replacing reactor fuel. This gives the United States incredible operational range and endurance. American carriers are designed to remain deployed around the world for extended periods while supporting non-stop air operations. The flight deck itself is a masterpiece, using steam catapults or advanced electromagnetic launch systems, carriers can rapidly launch fully armed fighter jets into combat. Aircraft recover using arresting wires stretched across the deck. These operations occur day and night under extremely dangerous conditions. Highly trained crews coordinate every movement with incredible precision. The primary aircraft aboard American carriers is currently the FA-18 Super Hornet, alongside the advanced F-35C stealth fighter. These aircraft allow carriers to perform air superiority missions, precision strikes, reconnaissance, electronic warfare, and close air support. A single carrier strike group can influence entire wars, but carriers never operate alone. American carrier strike groups are protected by destroyers, cruisers, submarines, and supply ships. This layered defense network protects carriers from missiles, submarines, aircraft, and surface threats. Together, they form one of the most powerful military formations on Earth. Now, let us look at Russia. Modern Russia inherited much of its naval doctrine from the Soviet Union, and unlike America, Russia never fully committed to carrier warfare. Today, Russia officially operates only one aircraft carrier, the Admiral Kuznetsov. This ship has experienced constant mechanical problems, maintenance failures, accidents, and long repair periods. Unlike American nuclear-powered carriers, the Kuznetsov uses conventional fuel-powered engines, which are less reliable and require more maintenance. One of the most famous characteristics of the Kuznetsov is the massive black smoke often seen coming from its exhaust systems. This became a symbol of the ship's aging technology and engineering problems. The Kuznetsov is also much smaller and less capable than American supercarriers. It carries fewer aircraft, launches fewer sorties, and lacks many advanced systems found on modern U.S. carriers. Instead of catapult launch systems, the Kuznetsov uses a ski jump ramp. Aircraft accelerate up the curved ramp and launch into the air under their own power. While simpler, this method limits aircraft weight and reduces payload capacity compared to American catapult systems. Russian naval aviation also faces additional limitations due to smaller budgets, fewer training opportunities, and reduced operational experience compared to the U.S. Navy. Another major difference is geography. The United States is protected by two massive oceans and relies heavily on naval power to project force overseas. Russia, however, has difficult geographic constraints. Many Russian ports freeze during winter or have limited access to major oceans. Russian fleets are spread across separate regions, including the Arctic, Baltic, Black Sea, and Pacific. This makes global naval operations far more complicated. Economics also play a huge role. Aircraft carriers are unbelievably expensive. Building a single modern American supercarrier costs billions upon billions of dollars. Operating them requires massive industrial infrastructure, shipyards, trained crews, aircraft production, escort fleets, logistics systems, and decades of maintenance. The United States possesses the world's largest military budget and a gigantic naval industrial base capable of supporting carrier operations. Russia simply cannot match that level of spending. After the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Russia faced severe economic crisis. Military budgets shrank dramatically. Many naval projects were canceled or abandoned. Carrier development became far less important than maintaining nuclear deterrence and strategic missile forces. As a result, Russia focused on cheaper, asymmetric weapons capable of threatening American carriers. This includes advanced anti-ship missiles such as the P-800 Onyx, Kalibr, and the hypersonic Zircon missile. Russian military planners believe these weapons can challenge carrier strike groups without requiring massive carrier fleets of their own. In many ways, Russian strategy revolves around denying access rather than projecting power globally. This is called anti-access and area denial warfare. Instead of matching America ship for ship, Russia aims to make certain regions extremely dangerous for enemy naval forces. Submarines are also central to Russian naval doctrine. Russian submarines are among the quietest and most heavily armed in the world. Ballistic missile submarines form a critical part of Russia's nuclear deterrent. Attack submarines can threaten enemy carriers using torpedoes and cruise missiles. The Soviet Union historically invested enormous resources into submarine warfare because submarines offered a more affordable method of countering American naval superiority. Now let us compare the advantages of aircraft carriers themselves. For the United States, carriers provide unmatched global power projection. They allow rapid military response without relying on foreign air bases. They can conduct airstrikes, enforce no-fly zones, support ground troops, deliver humanitarian aid, evacuate civilians, and deter enemy aggression. Carriers are also powerful diplomatic tools. The arrival of an American carrier near a crisis zone sends a massive political message. It demonstrates American capability, readiness, and influence. However, carriers also have weaknesses. They are extremely expensive, they require massive protection, and modern anti-ship missiles create serious threats. Some military analysts argue that hypersonic weapons could eventually make carriers more vulnerable than ever before. Defending carriers against advanced missiles is becoming increasingly difficult. Meanwhile, Russia's missile-focused strategy offers different advantages. Long-range missiles are cheaper than building carrier fleets. Submarines are stealthier and harder to detect. Coastal defense systems allow Russia to defend nearby regions effectively. But Russia's approach also has limitations. Without large carrier fleets, Russia lacks the same ability to sustain global air operations far from home. This reduces its ability to project conventional military power worldwide. In recent conflicts, the importance of carriers remains highly debated. American carriers played major roles in operations across Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, and the Pacific. They continue to serve as the backbone of U.S. naval strategy. Meanwhile, Russia has focused more heavily on land-based missiles, strategic bombers, and regional military operations. The future of naval warfare may depend on new technologies. Drones, artificial intelligence, hypersonic missiles, laser weapons, and advanced sensors could transform how navies operate in the coming decades. Some experts believe aircraft carriers will remain essential for power projection. Others argue they may eventually become too vulnerable on modern battlefields. Yet, despite these debates, the United States continues investing heavily in next-generation carriers and naval aviation. The Gerald R. Ford class represents the future of American carrier warfare with improved automation, electromagnetic catapults, advanced radar systems, and higher sortie generation rates. America clearly believes carriers will remain central to global military dominance for decades to come. And continues prioritizing missiles, submarines, and strategic deterrence over building large carrier fleets. In the end, the difference comes down to strategy, geography, economics, and military philosophy. The United States built carriers because it wanted global reach and worldwide military influence. Russia avoided large carrier fleets because it focused on defending territory and countering enemies near its borders. Neither strategy is completely right or wrong. They are simply designed for different goals. One projects power across the planet. The other seeks to deny that power from approaching too closely. And together, these two naval philosophies continue shaping the balance of military power across the oceans of the world today.